Om Gam Ganapati Namaha. Kaliyuga Kalpataru. Appendix. Miracles after entering Brindavana. Chapter 9. The Master Architects of Mantralaya. Number 2. Sri Suvatindra Tirtharu. The ancestors of Sri Suvatindra Tirtharu were great scholars in the royal court of the Nayakas of Chitradurga. This lineage belonged to the Pashika clan and the Haritasa Gotra, and they were descendants from Sri Rayaru's pre-monastic maternal line, Dauhitra Santati. Sri Huliyadachar was a scholar in the four major scriptures, that is, Chatur Shastra Pandita. His son was Hanumantachar, who studied Nyaya, Veda, and related scriptures under his father and under Sri Suvatindra Tirtharu, becoming a great scholar himself. Sri Huli Hanumantachar was married to the daughter of Sri Sushilendra Tirtharu's pre-monastic sister. Their son was Sri Krishnacharya. Sri Krishnacharya studied Nyaya, Vedanta and related Shastras under both his father and Sri Sushilendra Tirtharu. He was one of the administrators of the Sri Matha and held a special place in the heart of Sri Sushilendra Tirtharu. A person of impeccable character and virtue, Sri Krishnacharya was deemed worthy of the great Mahasamsthana. Therefore, Sri Sushilendra Tirtharu coronated him with the monastic name Sri Suvatindra Tirtharu, installing him as the emperor of the Vedanta empire. After ascending to the Pita, Sri Suvatindra Tirtharu undertook an extensive tour. A grand and dignified Digvijayatra, that is conquest through debates and propagation of philosophy, was carried out across South India. Through intense japa, austerities, worship of Sri Moolarama Devaru, distribution of Tirtha Prasada, lectures, scriptural discourses, victorious debates against opponents, and firm establishment of Dvaita philosophy, he elevated the fame of Mahasamsthana. As a result, he earned the special respect and honor of kings, scholars, both worldly and Vedic, and dharma lovers throughout South India. The chief objective of Sri Suvatindra Tirtharu's Digvijaya was the propagation of Sri Guru Rayaru's glory, and it was carried out with resounding success. Through his influence, thousands became devotees of Sri Rayaru. During his reign, many extraordinary events occurred, enhancing the glory of both the Mahasamsthana and Sri Suvatindra Tirtharu, making their renown universal. One such event must be described here. At Kumbakonam, in the presence of Sri Vijayendra Swami Brindavana, he conducted a grand and widespread Mahasamaradhana, that is, great commemorative worship of his Guru. Sri Raja Srinivasa Murtacharya, the Diwan, chief administrator of the Matha and pre-monastic son of Sri Suvatindra Tirtharu, provided his full support in all the arrangements for this grand event. With enthusiasm and skill, the entire organization of the Mahasamaradhana and the Sadarshana Vidvat Mahasabhe, that is great scholarly assembly of the sixth system of philosophy, was beautifully executed by the Acharyas. The Sadarshana Vidvat Mahasabha, that is great scholarly assembly of the sixth system of philosophy, conducted by Suvatindra Tirtharu at Kumbakonam, was one of the most magnificent and significant events of this century. It stands inscribed in golden letters in the history of Srimad Acharya's Mahasamsthana. Around 1930, all the renowned, eminent scholars of South India belonging to various schools, that is Trimata of philosophy, participated in this grand conference. Distinguished scholars included Yelaturu Krishnacharya, renowned in India as a foremost scholar in Nyaya Shastra, Kapishtalam Deshikacharya, Virupaksha Shastri, who later became the head of the Kudilgi Sringeri Mata, Atavidacharya, a descendant of Appaya Dikshita, R.V. Krishnamacharya, acclaimed as the modern Banabhatta, Vaidyanatha Shastri, expert in Mimamsa Shastra, Chakravarti Rangara, Doddaballapura Vasudevacharya, N. Vijayendracharya from Ashtapatri, that is Tiruvadi, Katte Gururajacharya, expert in Vedanta, Acharya Venkobacharya, Durgam Bhimacharya, Kunjubedu Shamacharya, Dadesu Guru Venkobacharya, Madure Vedavyasacharya, and many other distinguished scholars. Hundreds of scholars specialized in Nyaya, Mimamsa, Vyakarna, Dharmashastra, Dvaita, Advaita, Vishishtadvaita, and Sahitya Shastra, as well as students, poets, writers, Haridasas, and artists, took place in great numbers, making this an unprecedented scholarly gathering of the 20th century. Between 5,000 to 6,000 followers of Vedic and secular traditions and Dharma enthusiasts felt spiritually fulfilled by attending. This event was grandly organized under the supervision of Divan Sri Rajas Srinivasa Murtacharya and Sri Durgam Bhimacharya. In the Mahasabha, debates, that is Vyakarta, were held in all disciplines. Because the debates were conducted by profound scholars in the Shadarshanas, the scholars themselves requested Sri Suvatindra Tirtharu to serve as moderator. For 3 consecutive days, intensive debates on Nyaya Shastra were held in the morning, afternoon, and evening. One of the major topics discussed was the interpretation of the phrase Pashuna Ejeta, one should sacrifice with the animal, under the topic of Vyutpativada, that is semantic derivation. Both debating sides were composed of eminent scholars, skilled debaters, and intellectually brilliant minds, making the debate intense. When the discussion began to turn heated, Sri Suvatindra Tirtharu, Sri Padangalabaru intervened. He synthesized the arguments of both sides in a logical and balanced manner and gave a verdict that satisfied both parties. For 10 minutes, the entire scholarly assembly and audience erupted in applause and joyful acclamations, praising his unparalleled brilliance. His profound mastery of Nyaya, especially ability to synthesize and translate arguments, and his eloquent scholarly speech amazed the assembled scholars. Kapishtalam, Desikacharya, moved to tears, stood up, wrapped his shawl around himself, climbed the dais, and offered deep prostrations, that is, Danda Namaskara, to Sripadangalabaru. Unable to contain his joy, he then composed and recited the following impromptu words in Sanskrit. May Sri Suvatindra Tirtharu Guru, the one whose essence is drawn from the depth of the ocean, whose depth surpasses even the Himalayas, whose wisdom and precision rival the gods and sages, and who embodies the collected essence of all scripture, may he reign victorious upon this earth. Hearing this, the entire audience broke into joyous chants of victory, that is Jai Jayakara, and expressed their heartfelt delight. This became an unforgettable Digvijaya, that is victory tour, in the history of the Mahasamsthana. The radiant glory of Suvatindra Tirtharu's success spread throughout South India. Dedicating this Digvijaya to his Guru, Sri Sushilendra Tirtharu, Sri Raghavendra Tirtharu, Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu, and ultimately to Bharati Ramana Mukhya Prana, manifest in Sri Mula Ramachandra Devaru, Sri Suvatindra Tirtharu joyously honored hundreds of scholars, students, poets, and writers with gold and silver vessels, silk garments, that is Pitamara, shawls, that is Shalu, and clothing, bestowing generous gifts upon them. Following the guidance received in dream from Sri Guru Rayaru, Sri Suvatindra Tirtharu returned to Mantralaya from his travels. There, His health began to decline. Despite various medical treatments, no remedy proved effective. Believing the Guru Rayaru was calling him to grant a unique and sacred position near him that no one else had received, Sri Suvatindra Tirtharu wished to ensure the continuity of daily worship and rituals in the Mahasamsthana. Therefore, he resolved to appoint a worthy successor. He chose Sri Raja Srinivasa Murtacharya, who belonged to the pre-monastic lineage of Sri Rayaru, was born by the grace of Sri Guru Rayaru, was the pre-monastic son of his Paramaguru Sri Suvatindra Tirtharu, was a distinguished scholar, a devoted disciple of Guru Rayaru, a capable administrator, and deeply beloved by the people. On the auspicious day of Vaishaka Shukla Chaturthi in the Srimukha year 1933 CE, in the presence of eminent Vedic and secular scholars, he bestowed the Phalabantrakshata, that is, fruit-blessed sacred rice, and formally announced him as his successor. On Vaishaka Shukla Panchami of the Srimukha year, in accordance with the tradition of the Mahasamsthana, the newly initiated ascetic accepted the sannyasa ashrama, that is, monastic order, performed pada puja, that is, ritual worship of the Guru's feet, and received the seals, mudradharana, Gurupadesha, that is, sacred instructions, and other initiations. Then, seating him on the royal throne of the victorious Vedanta empire of Srimadacharya, Sri Suvatindra Tirtharu personally anointed him with the name Sri Suvatindra Tirtharu, formally performing his coronation, that is, Samrajya Pattabhisheka, and blessing him. The naming of the disciple by Sri Suvatindra Tirtharu itself symbolizes the glory of Sri Rayaru. As Sri Suvatindra Tirtharu was contemplating what name to bestow upon his disciple, on the morning of Panchami, Sri Durgada Gundacharya, his pro-monastic nephew and a scholarly disciple, came and offered his respects. He shared that Sri Rayaru had appeared to him in a dream that previous night and instructed that the final word of the refrain, that is Pallavi, in the song Ninnanambide, composed by Sri Jagannatha Dasaru in his praise, should be given as the name of the newly initiated saint, who is dear to him. He placed a copy of Sri Jagannatha Dasaru's composition before the Guru. Sri Padangalavaru opened to the song Ninnanambide, read through it, and was filled with immense wonder and bliss, praising Sri Guru Rayaru's loving grace towards his disciple. The song by Sri Jagannatha Dasaru reads, Ninnanambide Raghavendra, Ni Yanna Salahaya Suyamindra. The Guru rejoiced and declared, Sri Suvatindra Tirtharu, the emperor of the Gurus, Guru Sarabhoma, has directed the use of his own name for the disciple. Delighted, he bestowed upon the disciple the name Sri Suvatindra Tirtharu Sripadangalavaru. From the moment of enthronement, beginning with his very name, Guru Rayaru manifested the immense affection, compassion, and blessings he held for Suvatindra Tirtharu. This revealed the unique fortune and blessed destiny of Sri Suvatindra Tirtharu. After coronating him with the title of the Emperor of the Vedanta Empire, Sri Suvatindra Tirtharu, overwhelmed with bliss and eyes brimming with joyful tears, pronounced the following in the Grand Assembly: Beloved successors, you are a divine soul born through the boon of Sri Guru Rayaru to worship Sri Moolarama, to develop the Mahasamsthana and Mantralaya, and to serve Sri Rayaru in an exceptional way. You have been sent to this world to spread the glory of Sri Rayaru and to make Mantralaya a world-renowned center of devotion. When we consider that Guru Rayaru himself revealed your monastic name in a dream, it becomes clear that he has granted you a grace he has given to no one else. It is certain he intends to receive extraordinary service from you alone. Our Guru, Sri Sushilendra Tirtharu, began the special developmental work at Mantralaya. I too served to the best of my ability. Now, it is Guru Rayaru's will that this great work be completed by you. Therefore, remain at Mantralaya and carry out the daily and ceremonial worship and development of the Kshetra. Let the glory of Sri Rayaru spread throughout the world. and let lakhs of devotees serve him and be blessed. There is no greater service than this. We entrust this sacred responsibility to you. May you succeed in this task. We believe Guru Rayaru himself will bless you with the strength to uplift the name and prestige of the Mahasamsthana and Mantralaya. What more can I say? May Guru Rayaru be your very breath. May you ever be blessed. With a heart full of devotion, Sri Suvatindra Tirtharu joyfully gave this command to Sri Suvatindra Tirtharu, and everyone later realized how complete these words came true. Overwhelmed with joy, Sri Suvatindra Tirtharu bowed down, placed his head at the feet of his Guru, and humbly said, Revered Guru, we have received your command with utmost respect. We shall strive accordingly to our ability to fulfill your divine instruction. From that day onwards, for 4 to 6 days, he remained completely absorbed in the service of his Guru, receiving his full grace and blessings. Sri Suvatindra Tirtharu served as head of the Mahasamsthana from 1926 to 1933. On the auspicious day of Vaishakha Shukla Ekadashi, in the Srimukha year, a sacred day of Lord Hari, he completed his earthly duties and entered into deep meditation upon Sriman Narayana. I worship Guru Suvatindra Tirtharu shining with the brilliance inherited from Sri Sushilendra Tirtharu, an ocean of noble virtue and serenity devoted to the nectar-like spiritual discourse. Hari Om. Om Sri Krishnarpanamastu.